Hey guys, Eric Rule here. Today I'm going to look at the Texas Jazz Saxophone Etudes #1 for 2015-2016. We're going to take a look at it. Etude #1, I just picked it up today and just had the opportunity to go through it. It's late July right now. I'm going to demonstrate it on tenor for you so you can see that some of the phrasing that I go through and do can be done on a bigger instrument. I know sometimes people tell me, well, you can make that phrasing because you're playing alto. It can be done on tenor. It takes a little bit more airstream, but it can be done. As I go through and talk about phrasing, keep in mind that is my personal preference. Everybody has their own way of doing it. So when you go through and do that, you know, just keep that in mind. Always, you can go through many sources to see what you like works the best for you. Oftentimes my students ask me, but what are the judges looking for? I know when I judge these things, all I'm looking for is for the player to convince me that's the way it should go, to give me good swing, good sound, and convince me the way that's the way it should go. So they don't have to play it the way I play it. They just have to be very convincing and make it sound right, I guess, is good phrasing, good sound, articulation, and so on, along with rhythm within that. Always, as within this, make sure you're using a proper mouthpiece. I see too many people try to use C-Stars or the Van Doren Optimums that they don't really work well for the jazz. So make sure you get one that's a little bit more suited. Doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a $300 mouthpiece. There's ones for relatively reasonable prices that you can go through and get. You know, there's the Russos, there's the Myers, there's also the rubber auto links. Those are some nice ones that are available that you can get that are affordable yet make good tones, and you can go through and use those. All right, so let's go through and let's take a look at the music, the actual music. So here we have the actual music within that, what you're going to be playing through. And this is actually a nice, excuse me, an etude to go through and play this because it's got a lot of neat varieties and bebop-isms within here. For example, we have a lot of the half-step belows. For example, if you're looking at the E-flat to the E natural, the B-flat to the B naturals, those work out really well. In fact, through here on the B-flat here, I would use the side. So anytime you're going from a C to a B flat to something else, the side works out really well. Going through, we have the repetition. So I like doing something within this, either make it louder or make it softer. I think on the thing I phrased just a little bit softer. Going through up, coming down, the end of the phrase. Little kick. If you've gone through and looked at my PDF, you can go to my website, ericrule.com, and on my publications I have a little jazz handout, and I'll put the link in the actual information down for this video. But it talks about ties and stuff like this, so then we're going to accent the tie a little. Dee da ba da ba do dee. So we got the E flat going to the D. So that little chromaticism, so I want to bring those out a little, just little baby accents within that. Dee da da ba da da ba da da. Now, for me personally, I like taking a breath right here and then treating that as a pickup. So I do all this in one breath. Be da 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 ba da 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 ba dee da da ba da ba da da ba 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 do da da li dee da 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 ba da ba dee ba do da. So then this is just a little chromatic pickup into that. Coming down chromaticism going through. You could use the fork here to make it easier to facilitate that. Going through, and again we have the same thing with the E flat and the E natural. And in fact, if you look, this is very similar to this right here. Whoops, did I move the out of sight? I am so sorry, guys. Let me pull this up. So what we look at, if we have the first line here, Be da ba da ba da dee. Then we look down here, the same thing. This one starts on the upbeat, whereas it kind of starts on the down, but then it picks back up on beat 2 of the same thing. So it's the same lick. So you can go through and do that and facilitate it really easily. Let me move this down. Hopefully I don't do this too jerky for you. Okay, now moving on to the next part of it. So we have, and I'm sorry if the music's crooked, my Manhasset is kind of leaning to the side, as they all do it seemingly at some point. Going through, again, through here, you got the C to an A sharp or so, so I would use the side. Now, be careful that within this, the temptation is to breathe right here. But you don't want to breathe right here. You've got to go all the way to the rest. So what I try to do, so I try to put a crescendo through within that. In fact, this, do I have it? I got to move it down. Let me hear it. What we'll notice is that this is a statement of the melody that we're going to hear right in here. So this measure and this measure right here are related. So this is the first statement of this little fragment. So we want to bring that out. So if you breathe in the middle of it, that'd be like breathing in the middle of this phrase right here, and you really don't want to do that. Okay? So so go all the way to the end within that. Same thing here. Side C. Okay? Then within you have that within here. Going on up. Be careful. I naturally wanted to keep resolving that to the G here, but keep on going all the way up that arpeggio up to the B flat. At that point, it really doesn't matter which B flat you use. You can use bis or side. I happen to use, I think, side through there as I'm through playing it. Now, we have this fragment. Ba, bo, ba, dee, da, bo, ba, dee, da. Then what I do is I take a quick breath here, because then we have the same thing, except it's now in the major. Before we were in the E flat, now we're like in C. So it's like a conversion of almost like a C minor, and then now we're in C major. So ba 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 dee da ba ba dee da. So then I take a breath here. So then ba flat ba ba dee da flat da da dee da major da da dee da 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 dee da. Pick up, breathe. Ba B. Do I have room down here? Let me move it down. Sorry about the camera, guys. I just lose my attention here. I think I did. There we go. Okay, so so we got C, C moving to the B natural. So again, you might want to bring those out a little. Now you've got to be careful on this part right here. I've watched some videos on YouTube already, and I've noticed some people are playing this wrong. These phrases, beat 1 and 2, are not the same as beat 3. A lot of people are playing it as it's the same. So it's dee da da triplet da, ba ba da 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 triplet da. And if you listen to the recording, I try to really accentuate the be ba da dee da da triplet do da da da. Going through doing that little chromaticism through there. Be ba da da be da da da. So, wow, sorry about that. So same thing right here. Same lick. Just changing it slightly, coming down. So again, make these really quick. And if you notice, I think I even made these little staccato to accentuate that this rhythm is different than that. I think I do that here. Rhythm-wise, there's not too much. Also notice here we have the pickup on the be-da-da, which is the inverse. Carefully scroll this back up, can I? Without totally destroying you guys' eyes. Sorry about this. Is the inverse of this right here. Ba-da-da. So, and 4 and, whereas down here, it's and 4 and, but it's using the same notes, the type thing. When you're going through here, blow it off. These are, I mean, you got to technically get them. You know, and you want to be technically racket, but don't just hammer them out like the da 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 da. It's a phrase. It's a phrase coming out, and then drive from this bad crescendo, but you get the idea, into that, and that'll help you make through within that. Okay, so the 16 notes, just don't hammer them individually. Make them part of, phrase them. You can come down, you can crescendo through them within that. Okay, it's a lot of these are an effect to help you go through within doing that. Okay, practicing this. Be ba da ba dum. Be-ba-da-ba-dum, be-ba-da-ba-dum, dee-da-da-da-da, be-da-da-da-da, do da 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 da, and be ba da 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 ba da da da, be ba da 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 da, be ba da 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 da. Dee da 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 ba da da. So break it down beat at a time, then 2 beats, then you can go through. Okay, make sure you're very accurate within the beat. Okay, while we want it to be an effect, you don't want it so sloppy that you can't tell what's going on. It has to be there, but we're not nailing nails in the wall and beating it with a hammer. It needs to be smooth technique within that. And that's pretty much it. This one's a nice flowing of going through up and down phrasing, of just happening following the line. Through here, not a big deal. So ba-do-da, be-ba-da-da, dee-da-dee, ba-do-ba, dee-ba-do-ba-da-da, ya-da. Don't need to accent that. It's already going to get a little higher anyway. So just, you know, ba-ya-da, kind of back off a little when you get the higher note. Ba-dee-ba-da-da, da-ba-da-da, dee-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, boo-ba-do-da. Accent the tie here. Again, you're going to breathe, so there's that 8, so you'll breathe there. Be ba da ba do ba do dee da da ba do da 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 ba do dee ba do da ba do da da li dee ba da da do da 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 dee ba do da. Did I get out of the sight line there? Almost. So you can go through and do it. Half-step blows, they resolve real nice and easily. So as you practice this, practice it under tempo. I often recommend my students to practice the main parts up here. You can practice these at a little more comfortable tempo to practice your phrasing. But then as you go through and you work on some of this harder stuff, down through here, practice at a slower tempo, just making sure you get it and gradually speed that up. Okay? Ultimately, these will determine what tempo you're at, but you don't want to wait forever on these. So see if you can get the phrasing elsewhere on a faster tempo. And I did it at 160. You also notice, hopefully it came through on the recording, I had a little drum thing behind me. I was using Band in the Box. Also, don't forget the downloads here, the accompaniment files that you can use. Those are great things to practice with. There's online metronomes that you can use that have swing. You can also buy apps to do that. I think iReel, you can switch it over to drums only and have that. So get a sense of time of a drummer playing with you. There's also a great thing, CDs I bought a number of years back, called CD Metronome, and it's a drummer playing at different speeds going through, and he plays at each speed for like 3 to 5 minutes. Really nice stuff, so you can get play along with the feel of the nice drums and phrasing. But when you do this helps you with your swing so you can lock it in. Okay, smooth technique as I described in that paper. Don't overdo it. You're not tonguing anything. It's using bebop tonguing, not a heavy accents all the time. People think that you got to tongue all the time or heavy accents. Only on the specific places, little hits and important stuff like that. Otherwise, it should just flow off the tongue. All right. So as you go through, take a look at this. This is a really nice one. I think I pointed out all the things I was looking for. If you have questions, you can post them below here, or you can also contact me at my website through there, ericrule.com, and I'll put the link to that in the video so you can go through and do that and contact me. And if you have questions, we can go through. And hopefully I'll have some time maybe later this week to look at number 2 and number 3. All right, guys, take care.